Let's talk today about broken families. There are so many broken families all over the world, in Europe and in the US. So, what are the causes of broken families? Well, one cause for broken families is cultural. Cultural biases, cultural prejudices, cultural racism, cultural xenophobism, in other words, the resentment or fear of foreigners. There are many reasons for broken families. If a broken family is caused by cultural biases, that means that the people involved are not enlightened. They are not aware of how their culture is affecting them. They believe that their biases and prejudices are justified, that they are real, but really they aren't. The cultural biases are caused by brainwashing from a very young age by the society in which one lives. For instance, in certain areas of Europe, there is a resentment or a suspicion or a rejection of foreign women are considered to be immoral because there is no family around them locally that to which can be attached a socioeconomic status. It's foreign women living abroad are unknown entities. Cultural biases can also involve gender, gender biases, ethnic biases, racism, and political attitudes, such as the Mussolini era in Italy, the Hitler era in Germany, and the McCarthy era here. The biases based on assumed political stances, making people believe that they have a right to judge and to condemn for beliefs that are different from their own. But there are also other causes of broken families. And one of the main causes can be inherited family dysfunctionality. Now, how does inherited function, inherited family dysfunctionality work? Well, these are behaviors that are observed through generations and preserved unconsciously. For example, if you, let's say your grandparents were born and raised in a family in which the males were preferred over the females, and the males were believed to be more intelligent uh, and more appreciated than the females. Well, a male raised in that kind of a family will pass that attitude unconsciously on to his own children, who will believe and repeat the same behaviors. Well, what if the inherited family dysfunctionality is based on um, birth order? In some families, the firstborn is the golden child. And so people born in that family, especially the golden child, will tend to repeat that kind of favoritism with their own older firstborn golden child. And in some families, the firstborn is actually the rejected child, the scapegoat, the black sheep. And people raised in that environment where the firstborn is rejected will tend to do the same thing. So, broken families can be caused both by cultural biases and also by inherited family dysfunctionality. But both of these causes are responsible. Stop that. Both of these causes are determined by a lack of reflection. The person who, hold on here, stop it. The person who does not reflect on their own behaviors and thoughts, the person who does not look inward, the person who does not self-analyze, the person who does not reflect on his or her own attitudes will be the person responsible for promulgating and encouraging and continuing unreasonable biases and prejudices and family dysfunctionalities. So we are responsible for our inherited family dysfunctionality in the sense that we are responsible for reflecting and analyzing our own attitudes, but not everyone is capable of that kind of self-analysis. Not everyone is willing or even able to recognize that their behavior can be automatic knee-jerk reactions to inherited behaviors for which there is no real justification other than that the behaviors are generationally passed on. And so broken families are caused by non-reflection on our own attitudes and prejudices towards certain family members who, through no fault of their own, either through birth order or country of origin or any other reason through that is beyond their control, are somehow targeted and blamed and put into an unfriendly and unloving situation in their own families. And as these children grow up and become mature, and sometimes this can take a lifetime, their eyes one day are opened to the unreasonableness of the way they were treated, to the hurtfulness that could have been so easily avoided by a kinder, gentler attitude. The problem with family dysfunctionality with regard to siblings is that often the golden child is so invested in this false persona of being the golden child that they will not risk self-analysis because it could deprive them of their title of golden child. They enjoyed being the golden child, and they need to promote and continue that identity, and that identity requires a scapegoat, the less golden child, the non-golden child. They need to believe that paradigm in order to maintain the illusion of superiority, which is sad because it's that very illusion that makes them inferior, not superior. And so illusion continues to affect and cause broken families. So I would urge you to reflect. Are you culturally brainwashed into biases and prejudices and racism and attitudes that you simply absorb from your culture? Because remember, every culture has its underbelly of ugliness. For instance, the American culture has an underbelly of alcoholism and drug addiction. The American culture has an underbelly of racism. And the American culture has also many beautiful things, but we need to look at the underbelly in order to make sure that we represent the best way of existing. And the same thing with individuals. If you know that there was someone in your family who was less favored than you were by parents and therefore extended relatives, because it's a widespread condition. It even extends to hometowns. If you are aware that you are gratified by being considered special, then as an adult, it is your moral, ethical, and spiritual obligation to reject unearned honors and to reject undeserved punishments toward others, undeserved judgments, and undeserved exclusions. To golden children, I would strongly suggest that you may be blind to your best friend, the unfavored sibling, the scapegoat, because you don't accept them as an equal. And to the scapegoats, I know that you do everything you can to save the relationship with the siblings who were favored over you. And that is possible only if the favored sibling has the humility and the honesty and the self-analysis to make that relationship possible. So, broken families, let's pray for all broken families. And if you are a product of a no-contact family due to inherited family dysfunctionality, be at peace. You didn't cause the situation. And if the situation is painful to you because it is so based on lies that you end up being abused emotionally, then be at peace with the steps you need to take to preserve and protect yourself from negative behavior. Remember, look at your family objectively. You can love everyone in your family despite their flaws, but that doesn't mean that you should hide the truth from yourself. We are responsible for accepting and looking for the truth. It is very true that the truth will set you free. And so, whether you're imprisoned as a scapegoat or imprisoned as a golden child based on false illusions, well, wouldn't it be better to know the truth?